Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to go over my arrangement of the hymn When We All Get to Heaven. This is one of my peaceful meditative arrangements, and I'd like to share some insight behind the arrangement as well as some tips for how to tackle some of the more difficult parts. You'll notice in this sheet music I'm trying something new. I may continue doing this, we'll see how the feedback is, of putting lyrics in with a melody line. I know that at times when I have learned an arrangement of someone's that I wanted to perform, well, in really whatever context, it was helpful to think about the words. It was helpful to see them at times. If an arranger offered that, it was helpful to kind of see where the melody was at. But it was also helpful to just see the words as I was learning it and as I was performing it, if I hadn't memorized it, to just remember and keep fresh in my mind what it is that I'm depicting in the arrangement, what the words are that are coming to the listener's mind as they hear that melody that they've sung so many times. So we'll see how it goes. This arrangement is a little bit more simple. It wasn't difficult to add those in. If you like that, let me know. If you don't, let me know that too, and I won't do it anymore. It's not a very difficult arrangement. There are a couple tricky spots. I will draw your attention to the parentheses that pop up every now and again. Obviously, as you play it, you'll know immediately why those are there. The melody runs into the left-hand chords at times. And I suggest allowing your right hand to play those notes instead of just, leaving your right hand out and letting your left hand play it, because, for example, in this chord, the melody is in the middle of it, and that's really hard to let that melody stand out in the middle of a chord. I'm not able to do that. So I just suggest you let your right hand hop in there and you get rid of that middle note in your left hand so that the melody doesn't get lost. It's pretty straightforward other than that, until you get to the last page. And I do this a lot, and it's probably frustrating for most pianists who struggle to play anything more than an octave in width, because the average sized human hand is kind of maxes out at an octave, but I have unusually large hands, so a 10th is really very comfortable for me to play, and even an 11th I can hit if it's all white notes. And so I naturally arrange for that because that is such a beautiful voicing of a chord. And I know that it's frustrating to those of you who don't have the wingspan that I do. So I try to make up for that by, and there's a little note here to this effect, just putting some notes in parentheses that are optional. So if you can't hit a 10th, just remove the notes that are in parentheses, or alternatively, in your left hand here, it's a D, B flat, F. You could take that top note, move it down to a D. So then you've got a D, B flat, D, and that's just an octave span. And then the same with an E natural, C, G. Just move the G down to an E natural, an octave up from the bottom note, and you get. That's one workaround there. It really does not ruin the arrangement to do either one of those. Here's what it sounds like. I'll just give you an example. If I just remove the parenthesis note, it would sound like this. Here's what it sounds like if I lower that top note in the left hand. And then the same is true for measure 37. The right hand there spans a 9th. And then it hits a 10th here if you're going to hang on to that D. And you've got to span that wide in your left hand too. It's like quite a spread. And all you need to do in your right hand is, again, you can just omit that note that's in parentheses, or move it up the octave. And if you moved it up the octave, it would sound like this. Let's see, where am I at? Okay. Sorry, let me try again. I'm reading this sideways. So it still sounds, and you probably noticed that I omitted that top left-hand note. It still sounds really beautiful. I do suggest that instead of just omitting that bottom note, you move it up the octave, because that's a really beautiful movement there. You're going from the ninth of the B flat chord, that C, down to the root, and it's just a beautiful move. It's like a... So, but it's up to you. Play around with a couple different options and see what you like best. Now, I'm sure you're asking or wanting to ask me through the screen, why, if it works to do it in a simpler way where you're not spreading out so much, then why write it that way to begin with? Why not just write it the simpler way that everybody can play? Wouldn't that be better for everyone? Well, in one sense, yeah, it would be easier for everybody to play, but that's by spreading the chords out like that. It's so beautiful. And it's kind of my signature. It's one of the stylistic things to my arranging that's unique to me. So certainly when I'm recording an arrangement, I'm gonna utilize the strengths that are particular to me and the uniqueness that is particular to me. And this sheet music is a notation of my arrangement. So to be true to the recording, I want to be true to it. I want to accurately represent it. And for pianists that do have a span like mine, it would be unfair to them to simplify it when it's not necessary for those who do have a span and they would like to have those wider voicings. So that's the rationale behind it. I hope my notes are clear on it. I think that's it. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. As always, your pedal markings, the rule of thumb is to retake the pedal whenever there's a chord change. So here you have a B flat chord for 2 beats, and then it switches to a B flat suspended chord. So then you would retake the pedal. In this measure, you have 4 beats of B flat. The chord doesn't change, so just keep the pedal down. That's the rule of thumb. So after this, you're going to follow that rule to the rest of the song. And then always make sure that you're bringing out the melody, that it's not getting lost. Especially, where is it? Like in here, when your right hand is participating in that quarter note rhythmic motive. And make sure that melody pops out and doesn't just get lost in the chords. Hope that makes sense. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.